Here we are again, Rob and David, Sharegiver Solutions, and today we're going to explore the game plan facet of Sharegiving. And we talked before about, before you get into the actual practical game plan, daily activities and everything else, um, you would naturally want to be as well informed as possible, which you certainly became. So talk a little about that.
Right. Well, first of all, game plan, the the basic idea of it is that you're taking on a role and a responsibility that can be, really hard, and many get
It is hard.
yeah, many get thrust into it without preparation. They don't really think it through, but they're in it. And one of the things that I think we both know is that to the extent you can have a plan, whatever it is, and we have plenty of experience in sport when you're going into a game, having a game plan
Sure.
gives you a lot better chance of being successful.
Particularly if you're an underdog.
Correct.
If you're fighting an uphill battle, um, in fact, to continue the metaphor, you may be, winless, playing an undefeated team. You may not necessarily expect to beat them, but you want to feel good about yourself
Go in with a plan
at the end of the game.
So it may be self-evident, but a lot of people don't have it, and they're either just trying to survive, every day.
Yeah.
And so the theory of game plan is, in order to do the best job and also make it easiest on oneself, you have a game plan.
Is this thing adjustable?
Is it too high?
Is it adjustable?
Yeah.
I'm just thinking that chair's going up at any minute. No, it's okay.
Want me to
Long
turn
as-
it down?
I don't know. It just seems a little bit treacherous. Is this the knob?
No, that's the doorknob.
Oh.
Cinch my eyebrows.
Well, we could, whoa, hey there. Okay, good. Nice.
Good?
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it goes up to here.
Jesus.
It's 67,000
Love this
BTUs.
thing. I love it.
Oof.
Yeah. Warmer.
Sharon wrote a funny email. She said, I hear you've got 67,000 BTUs. And I said, and you should see the fire pot.
Bada boom.
Bada boom.
Did I get so wet? Oh my goodness. The
Oh,
cushion.
the cushion must, I had it over there. Yeah. This thing. And that's under there. You want to use one of those chairs?
Yeah.
Move this over. Okay. So, yeah, it's still.
Keep rolling.
That's
Okay, good.
Still nice heat.
It's good.
So yeah, the game plan, having an approach that obviously gives you more confidence as you address your role, and also just makes it easier on you rather than worrying about what to do next. And obviously in any game plan you have to build in adaptability for situations, which bring into play mindset, obviously.
Of course. Yeah.
But the underlying principle of it is to be the best caregiver for the person you're taking care of. Not only do you need a game plan, but you have to be able to identify with it, and ideally to share the kind of activities and programming that you build in, so it makes it more interesting for you. And in fact, it just represents, again, a chance to grow and develop while you're doing something that could otherwise be, stupefying,
Yeah.
as it is for many people.
Well, I'm, kind of constantly reminded that all of it, the game plan, the mindset is really correlates to where you are in the disease, where you are along
No doubt.
the path.
Which raises, I think, a good point, and really the starting point for any caregiver is information. I think it is absolutely vital that the caregiver understand the nature of the dementia, because there are many different syndromes for the overall disease, and they all have different characteristics or attributes. So, number one, in putting together a game plan, which again is like, and you would do in almost anything, you want to talk to the primary physician, who's usually the frontline person. You want to talk to a neurologist or a gerontologist who can give you the history of the impairment, and I think that's critically important. The second thing is to get your ducks in a row as best you can from a legal, financial, and medical point of view. So whatever documentation is there, you want to be ready, because you don't want to be in a position of something happening and not knowing, where to go or who to talk to or what is already in place or not.
Yeah.
And again, that's just part of the preparation of a game plan.
Yeah.
So that you are confident.
Yeah, I mean, there are different aspects to the game plan. Game plan in preparation for any eventualities, and game plan for Monday through
Correct.
Monday?
Yeah, yeah. So this is sort of what we're talking about now, is general sort of pre-game
Yeah.
diligence.
I have to say, particularly in today's climate, I'm assuming there are a lot of people out there who don't even have access to neurologists and a whole medical team. And so for those people, that's where David comes in, really. He's been to see them, and he's not a medical expert, and I'm not either. But he can certainly give you a pretty good overview as to what to expect at any spot along this path. And that's what Sharegiver Solutions
Right.
is
I would
designed
also
to do
say-
as well.
Yeah.
But obviously, if you can get a qualified medical opinion, you
Right.
should. It would
And
be
and
helpful.
we know that we would, I think, pretty safely assume that anybody has a primary care physician, because they get sick, and things happen.
Yeah.
So there's got to be
Yeah.
somebody that has
I'm sure.
taken care of them. That person either has referred them, and it'll all be in the record, to a neurologist, or could.
Yeah.
And with Medicare, I would say, if they haven't been, then that's the first thing you would want
Yeah.
to do.
Now, all of this stuff is practical
Yeah,
knowledge.
but this is the way you build up a game plan.
Yeah.
First and foremost on what you know or what you can find out. Second is in interacting with this person, and if it's a family member, you know something about them. But it obviously serves one well to find out what this person, maybe your spouse, in which case you'd have the clearest knowledge, or a parent, or a sibling, or somebody else that you're in charge of, what they are interested in, what they've been interested in. This not only, again, reflects your own mindset, because you're being very proactive, and you want to, at every step in this process, I think, exhibit a very positive frame of mind for the person you take care of. I mean, that's really important.
Yeah.
And part of that is by going through this kind of a process. We've talked about one of the activities that we see as potentially really valuable is creating a mini documentary about the life of this person. Well, here's where this comes into play.
Sure.
Where a caregiver would routinely, to the extent they can, interview or talk to other family
Certainly
members
engage
or
them in the
friends,
process.
and engage them in the process. That enables you to, again, inform your game plan Now,
It also moves ahead to network, but we're not there yet.
clearly.
Yeah.
And so you have mindset, network, game plan. They're all part of this share culture
Yeah.
that we're creating. So you want to learn as much as you can about what your partner in this is interested in. And relatedly, you want to identify those things and match them with your own interests, which is a real key ingredient to the success of caregiving, in my view, is to the extent that I, as a caregiver, am not just overseeing a daily
Supervising
schedule and
Barbara's
supervising
activities.
and saying, okay,
Now it's
it's
time
for
to do this. Yeah.
It has to, ideally, it touches your own interests.
Yeah, you should both not want it to end.
Right, not want it to end, go deeper into it.
And again, I mean, it's like a little tick. There comes a time, and you're at that time, when Barbara's interests have ceased to be, really.
Correct.
And so the game plan consists more of Barbara accompanying you
Correct.
in things you're interested in.
And you know, we say this now and it seems self-evident, but what happens in 90% of the cases when a person is at an advanced stage like Barbara, doesn't really have interest to speak of, then the caregiver's really stuck because not really having conversation.
Yeah.
And
Right, it's difficult
So-
to go from zero.
right, so then what you're sharing is really your interest, but it is energizing, or it certainly occupies the space for the person you're caring.
Occupies the space, and at that point, you're a partner, a teacher, a coach,
Correct.
a cheerleader.
And you're a learner.
Right.
I mean,
That's true.
because let's say, as I think is the case, I mean, if you ask me, just as a general matter, what would be irreducible for your quality of life? If you had to name a couple of things you couldn't,
Deal breakers.
that you need to have, your favorite things, I would say my library and my garden. Bingo. I could do really well. Just give me those two things.
And they happen. I mean, I've always thought a garden is the most fertile, not to use a pun, but loaded with activities and growth and the whole metaphor and the reality,
Oliver Sacks says,
particularly this garden
yeah,
here.
right, Oliver Sacks says gardening and music are the two things that most directly and richly help neurologically. Those two things.
I would imagine the characteristics of a library are very close behind.
Exactly.
You're-
I mean, and obviously
Being
that's
read to, reading,
exactly.
storytelling.
So, as a caregiver, you really get the blessing of caring for somebody and sharing that time and space where you can grow. I think, okay,
Well, here come the ducks.
the geese.
The geese.
Geese.
Duck, duck, goose.
Can you believe that? It's like they're all B-52s flying overhead. So, yeah. So, gardening. So, getting back to too hot.
No, keep talking. This seems a little.
Getting back to game plan. So the actual game plan is comprised of activities that are informed by the person you're taking care of as well as your own interests.
Yeah.
And at any stage along this arc, you're matching those two.
Yeah.
At any stage.
Yeah.
Because this is the key.
But it has to sort of scale, your loved one, and as you move along, it becomes leaning more
Correct.
toward your interests.
But even when the interest is more directly related to the person you're caring for. The key is you get into that.
Right, you gaining benefit from
You get the
those
benefit.
activities
You,
as well.
you are actively involved.
That's mindset.
It's mindset.
You have to engage, you have to, you have to be curious, and
Yeah.
you have to be enthusiastic. And again, we come down to, can enthusiasm be taught?
Right. And my view is, if somebody understands the science here, that to the extent you engage, you are going to make it easier on yourself. You're going to feel better.
Yeah,
So you can't just say you should do this because it's the right thing to do.
Right.
No, you should do this because the science says that you're going to feel better and you're going to do better.
we talking endorphins?
Yeah, chlorophyll.
Well, I think, in any endeavor, the more effective you are,
Right, but yeah.
the more you'll enjoy it.
So and you're
Or vice
suggesting
versa.
that not everybody
Or vice
is going to
versa.
embrace this, but I believe that they can and will when they understand what is actually happening, what it does. So then we're constructing a game plan. Now, my approach to it, has several aspects. Number one, every day I do a whiteboard that basically says in big letters, today is October 26, 2020, is Tuesday, October 26, 2020. Then I list basic activities during the course of the day. I do this as much for
It's
Barbara.
actually the 27th.
Is it the 27th? Oh God, election is in 7 days.
Yes, it is.
So I do this for Barbara because whether she even understands it, she reads it every day. She goes to it, puzzles over it, this schedule. So the schedule is important for both sides, caregiver and patient. The second thing that I always do, which is really important, and I'll give my own example. Music is unbelievable filler. And over the course of the day, I've asked Christina, who I'm fortunate enough to have as a caregiver for about 30 hours a week, which is really a blessing that not everybody can do. I'll say, okay, over the course of the day, we're going to have an hour of Broadway. We're going to have an hour of Beatles. We're going to have an hour of 60s music. We're going to have an hour of Zumba, Brazilian shake your tush music. And so she's learned, Alexa, play, and so in the background, Barbara is moving. She's energized. She's sometimes singing along.
Well, also because music has been proven to be one of the last vestiges of connection and
Correct.
memory.
And memory.
Yeah.
So we know it's nurturing, and it makes her feel good, and it makes the day go much easier. So now sometimes there's a specific activity associated with it, where she'll really sit down. It's Broadway hour, or it's Zumba, time for Zumba, to get up and dance. But so I would say, number one thing I've found is create an environment that is rich, and music is the best way to do that. The other thing is not to stack too many activities in a given day, because somebody with dementia will generally be prepared to sit, if it's reading and writing time. So I'll say to Barbara, okay, this afternoon we're gonna sit and we're both gonna read and write. Well, obviously it serves my interest because I want to do that, but she'll always say, yeah, she wants to do that. So we're playing music and we're reading. And that's often an afternoon activity. Other activities, whether it's craft or it's gardening, or it's learning. I generally schedule one of those a day and fill in around it. Between breakfast and lunch and the end of the day, that's more than enough.
And are meals a team effort as much as
Can
they
be. Can be. Again, as in Barbara's case, it used to be that she would make the salad, and toss it and apply the dressing. Baking, she loved doing cookies and things like that. Not now.
Yeah, she was a hell of a cookie maker.
Yeah, not now.
Mm.
And so I do it. But, I have her participate. Right now, she doesn't really make the salad. She eats it before it's time. But but you try to involve her. And, and these different activities, as we will share, we probably have 7 or 8 activities that over the course of the week we want to touch on. Learning is one, even if it's with, the most rudimentary things of space retrieval, or it's writing 1, 2, 3, 4, or ABC, or looking at pictures of iconic images of celebrities and this and that. These are things that, are interesting. She always wants to do it.
Well, these are also things that Sharegiver Solutions will encourage, and as you mentioned before, videos, family films,
Correct.
home movies, old photos.
Photos.
Wedding albums.
We could do photos and wedding albums every day.
Yeah, and that's something that's pretty universal.
Correct.
And very useful, I know. And you can, probably, as you say, do it as often as you like, and it's still engaging and
Correct.
engrossing.
And another thing that we do twice a week, and we pay for it, it's having a fitness person come, but it's really basic. It's really dancing around. It's doing some push-ups off the counter, and Barbara has any number of friends that would come and do it with Barbara, twice a week. And if I didn't, have Mary Tower coming, I have somebody else. But Barbara knows that Monday morning at 9, I say, Mary's coming this morning to work out. She's happy. She's excited. And Friday at 1:30, Mary's coming. So fitness is a huge deal. And it occurs to me now that because some of her friends come and join in the class, that they would come, wouldn't charge. This
Right.
would be
Sure.
fantastic.
Yeah.
And they all know every routine, and they just plug in the music and they'd be dancing around. So I would say fitness is a huge deal. Socializing.
Including walking?
Including
You
walking.
have walking paths.
Including
galore.
walking around in the garden.
Yeah.
When we walk in the garden, I'm not that successful. We walk and we have different stones and this and that. We try to do, stretches and this and that. But, again, thinking about game plan, and I have along the right side of my game board things that I want to make sure to cover, if not every day, during the week, which is fitness, which is diet, which is social, which is intellectual, which may at the end of the day just be watching a movie on TV, but it's engaging somehow.
Well, you still, you involve reading
Yeah,
to a large extent.
yeah. Even though I don't think Barbara's reading for, gaining a lot, but she reads and she marks up the books, including my favorite ones.
I'm
And
sure
sometimes rips off the introduction. But yeah, so
sometimes hides it in the oven.
hides it in the oven.
Yeah.
Today, couldn't find my car keys.
Mm.
And as soon as Christina came over, she went right into the guest bathroom, and there they were.
Christina did?
Christina
Yeah.
did.
Well, that's on you. You got to keep your keys close.
Yeah, they were in the car.
I mean, you're not great with keys anyway.
They were in the car, damn it. So constructing the game plan, not overloading it, having key fillers, and touching all of the things that, by the way, are all part of the science of preventing dementia for those of us that are healthy, especially that are young,
Mind,
which is
body.
diet, which is fitness, which is managing stress, which is promoting neural growth, and finally getting restful sleep, which is the worst thing, the hardest for me. Although I think my sleep is restful, it's just not a lot.
Yeah.
But those things I always list.
It's a tough time to sleep right now, these
It
days.
is. I'm sleeping. I'm just getting up early, but I'm sleeping.
I'm not sleeping the way I'd like
Yeah.
to.
Yeah.
There are concerns out there.
Social and spiritual. So meditation. Meditation is something that you can try. In Barbara's case, sometimes she's ready. We'll put on Tara Brach guided meditation for free, and we'll do that in the morning. So you can create really a rich calendar that is informed by irreducible elements that are important for anyone, as well as matching interests that your partner might have or you might have, and again, depending on where you are in the spectrum of impairment. But it's possible. In fact, it is crucial to develop a great game plan that is exciting to you.
And so the game plan consists in those areas of activities which feed those areas: intellectual, physical,
Correct. Nutritional, spiritual, social,
and cognitive.
yeah. And actually, with Barbara, whether or not, again, it's meaningful, I have those listed on the side, and they never change. So we match them
Right.
to what we're doing, which she's fascinated by. Which is not to diminish it. And as you know, Barbara was a very smart, able person. She doesn't necessarily know, but she loves that we're doing it. And she recognizes somehow.
And I would imagine it's difficult for you or anyone to know exactly what she knows.
Correct.
She may know more than you think.
Yeah, and episodically she does. Unfortunately, it's those times when she becomes sad. And she'll cry.
Because she knows what she
she'll
doesn't know.
wish she were gone.
Yeah.
And nobody wants her.
Yeah.
And she can't do anything. These are things that she'll say.
And that's probably when you put on the Beatles.
Correct.
Or give her a hug.
And-
or both.
Or both. And it's amazing that music will do that. Conversely, we can have the Beatles on and she's singing and dancing, and then in the next moment I can look and she's crying.
Gross.
So,
Yeah.
but, I think as we go forward, we can go into each of these activities, whether it's constructing a documentary about your loved one, whether it's setting up a learning exercises that can be interesting and fun, whether it's breaking down a craft-based activity like gardening, and what you do year-round, especially gardening is inside. Well, you take it outside, you take it inside, or you do certain things that are really discreet by square foot gardening or container gardening or all these things, and they're all things that if you're a gardener, you're interested in all of them anyway. But so that's the way we see it, and as you indicated before, they're all related, because mindset is really behind all of this, your own. It's also a mindset that you want to teach and coach other people, because you will feel the imperative to do that if caregiving is working. You want to share your knowledge. You want to share with young people that don't realize that, well, this is underway and they can prevent this if they act now. You want to share with friends and family that want to help. We want to give them a way to do it. As I say, it just occurred to me on the fitness side that I could have somebody come every day.
Yeah, just
and
put music on
put
and
music
start
on and
dancing.
dance.
Yeah, well, the unfortunate advantage here is that everybody knows the situation, whether they're directly affected or impacted, or or they're a caregiver, or they know someone like or they're a millennial. Millennials, they're aware of the situation also, and in fact, as you know, of course, a quarter of all family member caregivers are millennials.
Correct.
Or what they call sandwich kids, who might be caring for an older adult and a kid. So, it doesn't come as a surprise to anybody that this is pervasive
Right.
and increasing. And part of what we want to do in terms of the game plan, and what I think, helps distinguish Sharegiver from a lot of other organizations, is that in addition to the emotional support and the networks and all the information we hope to help provide and experts that we'll present, is a practical game plan. And as you say, we're looking for a platform that will enable the Sharegiver to select activities on a weekly basis, a monthly basis, and set up a daily grid,
Right.
a week at a glance,
And-
whatever it is.
All of which, again, mindset. If I have a growth mindset, then everything that I do, just if I have it in my life,
Yeah,
not just as a caregiver,
Sure.
but as a human being, if I have a growth mindset, then everything represents an opportunity to grow, to feed my curiosity, to develop skills and interests, and which should be, lifelong. There's one other thing that we didn't mention that's part of Gameplan, which I think really requires a lot more exploration for the benefit of our audience, and I'm learning about it more and more, which is for the caregiver having a game plan for me as the caregiver of
yeah,
in discharging this role, I'm also living my own life. And therefore, I have to think about how I can nourish that life independent of this role.
yeah,
And that's hard for a lot of people. I mean, some are living, split lives, as you said. They're taking care of their own families, or they're trying to pursue a career while they are being a caregiver,
yeah.
which is incredibly challenging. Again, it relates to mindset of the way you integrate all of that and think about it. But at the same time, for many family member caregivers who are, this is a spouse, or they're, 65 and over, how they manage to stay vital, and living almost a parallel life at the same time. Because many people get so stuck that it's the end. That's why they get depressed, they are ridden with guilt, they get sick, and in many cases they die even before the person is taken care of. This is not end of life. This should be just another opportunity to figure out how to have a fulfilling and a joyful life, even when you are charged with a responsibility that, could be,
Consuming and
debilitating. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's another part of what we hope to share.
And that also, again, the arc, that, as long as you can still engage, there's a relationship. It's about the relationship, really.
Correct.
And
Correct.
your daughters they're largely responsible for a lot of this, and having pointed out that the relationship with their mother is essentially non-existent, but the relationship with you becomes that much more critical, and they're the ones that demanded you look after
Sure.
yourself.
Yeah. They said, for all of your game planning and strategizing, think about, your own life.
You.
Yeah, you.
Yeah.
And you got a lot of mileage. So not only have our permission, we are urging you to figure out how you do both.
Yeah. How to be as effective and empathetic a caregiver as you can be and keep yourself happy at the same time.
Yeah. So, more to come, but that's a basic approach to Gameplan.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Yeah.